Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new hardware review today with a new mouse, one made by Catz. That would be the r.a.t. Pro X, a very special mouse because of, well, the way it's built, and also because it's kind of green and will probably ruin the green screen effect behind me, and now you're probably seeing through me. Oh, editing, this will be amazing. This mouse was again sent to us by the people at PC Coolers, and again I'd like to thank them for giving me the opportunity to actually review this strange and very expensive contraption. Yeah, this thing costs upwards of $200 depending on the sensor it's equipped with. So this is probably the most expensive peripheral I've ever reviewed. Were it not for my graphics card, it would be the most expensive thing I've ever reviewed. So, is it good enough to justify the price? Oh boy, it sure better be. So let's get to it. First thing to note is just exactly how this thing is built. The r.a.t. Pro X is constructed on top of a aluminum exoskeleton called an exoframe, written right here. That sort of gives it kind of a lot of rigidity. It acts as a support base for everything else that you can just bolt onto it. Some of the core electronics of the mouse are in the exoframe itself, so you're not in any danger of accidentally losing a bit of it and not having, I don't know, clicking anymore enabled in the mouse. No, that won't happen. What you do have is the ability to customize it using all those modules that I showed you in the unboxing and in the build guide that let you just plump things on it like a different palm rest. This one, by the way, is a bit higher than the other ones, and another one of them is a bit longer. The basic idea is that you can change the way that this mouse sort of feels, so you can adapt it more to your hand, though I've gotta say it honestly doesn't go far enough. I would have honestly preferred if they had more of a elongated shape to this, maybe one that goes all the way down to the bottom and forms a better curve. But well, it's not that I don't like the way that they made the modular system. Like I like the way that the mouse wheel is made. Like you can just lift it up completely like this, and you can actually use it like this, or you can remove the mouse wheel altogether and replace it with something different, because it comes with 3 different materials for the mouse wheel. But it doesn't sort of give me all the options I would want for actually customizing it. For example, what I would like to see was a different configuration for the side buttons. There is another one, there is a different panel on the side, but that one is just thicker. It doesn't actually change their disposition or their shape, and these buttons are sort of a bit too close together and kind of hard to tell apart. So that's something I would have liked to see addressed with maybe different buttons, or just placing them slightly forward, because this one sort of is a bit too much at the back. The other one, however, like this one is superbly placed. I'm actually thinking of, and this is important, this does come with a lot of customization in the software too, so you can probably just change the behavior of this button to be that of this button and just leave this one for extra stuff like DPI toggling. But yeah, the build quality is actually quite fine. The mouse is resilient, it is well built, it's easy to take apart, easy to put back together, and you do have magnetic grips for the shoes or the sleds. These one are the Teflon ones. It also comes with ceramic pads that will let you adjust the slickness, the friction level, to be more inclined with either your preference or with the surface you are gaming on. It's, well, and when it comes to modular mice, honestly, after seeing the r.a.t, I would have liked to see again more options in terms of button positioning, but yeah, it's okay. The things it comes with as standard won't necessarily change it completely, it won't turn it into a different mouse, but it does give it some customization. Now, is that customization worth the $200? Well, we'll get to that. One other thing to mention about the wheel is that there's this little red thing over here that you can, the red screw right here, that you can change, or can modify with the screwdriver that comes with the mouse, and that actually lets you change the intensity, the resistiveness of the wheel. And honestly, I love this because there are some times that I need a mouse wheel to be resistive. For example, I'm playing Rainbow Six Siege and I'm middle clicking to activate my abilities, like, I don't know, Capcan Straps or smokes, poison bombs. I would like it when I press the middle key for the mouse's wheel not to actually move. And I can set the resistance to be at its maximum setting when I'm playing Rainbow Six Siege, so it won't actually move at all when I'm pressing middle click. But if I'm editing, if I'm actually scrolling through a lot of things, yeah, I would want the scroll to be a little bit looser, so I can actually change that here and make it a bit easier to use in those type of applications. So yeah, that's something I actually like, and it's honestly something I wish more mice would have, like an ability to set your own resistiveness for the scroll wheel. That's something actually good. What isn't as good is the DPI switch. Like, this DPI switch is only goes in one direction, though there are just three DPI settings. So yeah, I guess it works, but honestly, the way that it's placed up here, like it pivots on its top axis, on the top portion. I would have liked it if it just had the dual button option, like forward, backward, because scrolling through all three of them to get to the one you need, yeah, that can sometimes be kind of annoying. Some people may call this mouse fiddly as hell, and maybe even gimmicky because of the modularity of it. It doesn't really change, like, it doesn't fundamentally change the mouse, but, well, it's okay as I would say, a first attempt. This mouse was, I believe, launched in 2015, and there will be an updated version of it, the r.a.t X Plus, that I think has some different options to customize it. And there's even a lower tier version, the r.a.t Pro S, that only lets you customize this bit. And honestly, I probably won't notice the difference, because basically this bit is the most important part, at least it was for me. Well, no, actually I'm lying. This bit was really important because if I left the bit of it that had the extension on it, like for your pinky finger, that actually didn't feel right to me. Well, the mouse itself still doesn't feel a bit right to me because it's sort of a bit too thick and not long enough. It's more, I believe, made for people that use the claw grip and not the just relaxed palm grip that I use mostly. It's an interesting concept in terms of modularity. I wouldn't say it's perfect. It's honestly far from perfect, and when you do have something like the r.a.t net that lets you even 3D print buttons to put on the side of the mouse, so you can have pretty much any number of buttons you want, not just the 3 you see here. Yeah, it's kind of a hard sell at $200 or 200 euros, and mind you, that's with this sensor. This sensor, by the way, is the PixArt PMW3310. It's an optical mouse, sensor that goes all the way up to 5000 dpi. It's a good sensor, like I've noticed no problems with it, it's worked fine. And other sensors available for this mouse are one that is made by Philips. That one actually has two sensors that's made for like lightning fast reactions, lightning fast movement, and that's pretty much the most expensive one. It pushes the cost of the mouse to around 220, 250, well, not 250, but a lot over $200, so it's kind of expensive. There's also the Vago 9800 variant, which is the same sensor that pretty much was in most of the mice I've reviewed up until now. It was in the Natick Genesis one and in the Trust GXT 177 mouse as well. And that was an okay sensor too, so like the sensors, yeah, they're good. Even though this only goes all the way up to 5000, that's still a lot. Again, in most games, you will not be using 5000 dpi. You'll probably be under 2000 because you also have the fine aim switch, the DPI toggle here, you're gonna stay in some cases at around 100, maybe even, if you want to get fine aim in your sniping or in your mech sniping or in whatever kind of sniping game you prefer, or if you're using something like Photoshop and really want to move things 1 pixel at a time. Something like this can actually be helpful for productivity. Something else to note about the wheel is that it sort of behaves a bit oddly compared to other mice wheels. You see, this mouse has something called a strafe axis, meaning that you can tilt the wheel left and right, and this actually has an analog gradual input. So the software that the mouse comes with detects this as having multiple degrees of inclination up until it reaches its maximum point. It's currently at 50% in the center, and when I first saw this, I thought, oh my god, this is going to be amazing. I could use this to lean in games. I could use this to, I don't know, to do stuff with it. Like, I can have an extra scroll on my scroll. Yo dog, we put an extra scroll in your scroll. It reminds me a bit of the old mice. Remember them? Those net scroll mice that had 2 wheels, that one of them scrolled vertically and another one scrolled horizontally. Well, thing is, a lot of games, like most of the ones I have, don't actually recognize this axis, so you have to place an input in the software like on this axis, maybe a letter, a key, something that pretty much eliminates its nature as being analog, and only then can you actually use it. It's kind of a shame actually, because like I said, this is something I would have liked to see better used. There's also that mouse, I forgot what the name was, the most advanced mouse ever made, the one that was in Kickstarter, that basically has a similar function, but you just turn it, like you can pivot the mouse on itself, which honestly is a better implementation, because if you want to actually do this, you have to take your hand off the click key and the left click, and well, you generally don't want to do that in most games unless it's something not critical. And if it's something not critical, you can probably just put it on the keyboard and not actually have it on the scroll wheel, where you already have 2 inputs, like clicking and the scrolling. Now let's talk a bit about the software part. I've had some issues with the software. Installing it sort of made the mouse sometimes not remember what clicks were. The buttons would just not register properly, and I had to either restart it or fiddle with the profiles. Oh, by the way, there's a profile switch here. You can change between all the 8 profiles. You have 8 profiles that you can customize to your heart's content. You can customize just about anything from them. You have even a setting for lift-off distance if you're one of those people that doesn't know how to keep a mouse on the mat, because you know you're one of those people that actually plays Counter-Strike with what, 50 DPI, and you move the mouse like this, like to turn around a bit, like not do a 180 but turn on a bit. Yeah, for those people, you can customize the lift-off distance to your heart's content. Also has an option to sort of smooth out the movement. That's something that's kind of interesting, and it would actually be useful for drawing. You can smooth out the movement, so it's a bit more linear and not jaggy. That can compensate for some issues with your maybe your mouse pad, your playmat or something, and also for the general jitters you may have in your hands when you move them, like, I don't know, you drank too much coffee or something. But yeah, there is the issue of the software failing, and had to uninstall it to verify that that was the problem. I reinstalled it, it again was a problem. But if you fiddle with the buttons long enough, it will remember that, yeah, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be clicking, so it will remember to click. But yeah, those problems come and go. They haven't happened in about a day, but they have happened several times yesterday, so I'm not really sure what's the root cause of it. It's not because I have another mouse. I uninstalled the other mouse, it still happened. And the drivers actually work. It's mostly the profiling software that does it. It's kind of annoying, sadly. It also had an error message once that it couldn't actually find the mouse. Well, it couldn't interface with the profiles on the mouse, but eventually it did work. There's a saying, a very stupid saying, that maybe the software needed time to settle down, which doesn't make sense, but it's a saying. And maybe maybe it's true up to a point. The software also lets you do a lot of other stuff like add macros to just about anything. You can change the assignments of all the buttons, like all of them, in any way, shape or form you want. And also something I like, if you don't necessarily like the shape as it is, and I don't know, you bolt something different to it, something that's maybe not standard, and you don't necessarily move the mouse forward and backwards, but more to the side, there is an option for that. Like, you can set this mouse to change the axis upon which it's centered. So you can move it side to side and it'll go up and down. You can move it diagonally and it'll go up and down. You can do a lot with it. Like, the software, when it works, is very good. One thing you can't do in the software is change the RGB lighting because it doesn't have any. It's a mouse from the age, like you can't, it's a mouse from the age when people didn't stuff RGB lighting in everything. The r.a.t. Pro X Plus does, however, have RGB lighting, like everything does today. You can't escape it anymore. I don't know what to do. I'm scared that one day they'll shove RGB lighting in my eyelids. Gaming performance has been quite good. Like I've said, the sensor is okay. I've had no problems with it. It's smooth. It doesn't have any issues. The smoothing factor, like the angles, the snapping feature that it has, sort of helped a bit when it came to my mousepad. I mean, it helped a bit in terms of moving targets, like when you're sniping with fuse up, when you're perched up on the wall and hanging down and looking for a window. It sort of helps a bit, but should have tried it more with glass. It worked okay with glass too in Rainbow Six Siege. I'm not what you would call a very good sniper in Counter-Strike, but it'll probably help you there as well if you're one of those people that does have issues with like keeping the mouse exactly steady on very small increments of movement. Also, something else that will help you in that terms is the feet. Like, these ones are the Teflon ones, but it does also have ceramic ones that apparently offer even less friction. Now, I don't actually have the proper equipment to test differences in friction from Teflon to ceramic. They honestly felt kind of the same, but I'm basically not the target audience of this mouse. I'm not a pro gamer that moves like this mouse to just turn 20 degrees or something. But they're nice feet. Like, they're nice. You can remove them, you can clean them. It does come with a brush that allows you to clean the mouse in its entirety, and I suggest you do so because, well, it does have an LED here that shows you the indication of the current DPI setting, and this thing will get dirty. It will get prints on it because it's right next to the left click. Oh, the left click. You know, I like this bit. Like, this bit sort of makes it look like it's, I don't know, a trigger, like a... reminds me of certain flight sticks that had like the extension to the triggers, but small issue with this. I'm not sure if I believe these are Omron switches, but they this one failed. Like, this one does not register clicks properly. It registers sometimes double clicking, and that's not good. I know this is a review sample. This has been in use probably since the mouse was released in 2015-ish, so it's probably been around a bunch of other sites and YouTube channels and stuff, and reviewers that have abused it for at least a year. But this click has failed. Like, it registers about, from what I tested, it was around 10% of the clicks. 7 to 10% of the clicks were double clicks. That's not good. Like, registering a double click when you don't want a double click can be annoying. Can be very annoying. I accept this happening on mice that are, I don't know, $17 like this one. This one still works, by the way. I accept it happening on some Marvel mouse I got in a pack that cost probably $5. But on a $200 mouse that you would expect to be built for, you know, resilience, abuse, gaming, a lot of clicking, No. Like, again, I've said it. It's a review sample. There may have been issues. It may have been dropped. It may have... Something may have happened to it other than just wear and tear. But the fact that the click is failing is kind of disappointing on something that costs this much. Because face it, left click is basically the main reason you're getting a mouse. And if left clicking doesn't work properly, technically you could invert left and right click in the software, because right click still works properly. But it'll be a bit fiddly. And honestly, a mouse should be able to do left click well. And if it costs $200, it should be able to left click oh damn well. And sadly, this one probably left click quite well for a while, and now it's starting to fail, and that's kind of sad. That's actually very, very, very sad. Yeah, on kind of that down note, I'm probably gonna end this review. So should we get the r.a.t Pro X? Honestly, the r.a.t Pro X Plus is coming soon, like I saw on the website. So probably just wait for that one. Maybe they fix the issue with the clicky key failing. Also, it has RGB if you want RGB in everything, like I know you want to, or at least companies know you want to. Everything must be RGB. Or you can get the r.a.t Pro S, which is basically this thing with like this sensor, but you can only change this bit, the palm rest, and not the other parts of it. And that thing costs, what was it, $60? Somewhere between 60 and 70 bucks. It's a hell of a lot cheaper than this thing. It's, oh my god, it's a lot cheaper. And honestly, that will probably be the better fit, because hey, if left click breaks on that thing, you can just buy another one and pretend you bought one of these. And you know, it's a lot more economical. Honestly, unless this thing hands out free candy, I can't justify $200 for it, like at all. Like, I'm not sure exactly. I'm gonna check 1 second. Okay, so I checked. The r.a.t Net is basically half the price. And that thing has more than 3 side buttons. And you can choose which ones to keep, and you can add modular, like you can pre-print buttons for it and just use the ones you want to. It's honestly, it's really hard to recommend this thing. It's a novelty, yeah. It's an IKEA mouse, yeah. It's a novelty. It's interesting to look at. It's something to brag with at a LAN party. It's honestly not something a sane person would probably buy. Then again, there are rich people around that spend more than $100 on phones. So yeah, there's those people too. People that buy iPhones and Samsung Galaxies and the new Google Pixel phone that somehow Google made to cost $800. It's madness, basically. So should I get this mouse? If you won the lottery and want to brag, no, I actually get the r.a.t X Plus, the sequel to it, the one that's red and probably won't ruin the chroma key and has RGB. This is basically last year's model, sort of. So you can wait for that one, or you can just send us the money and we'll give you a much cheaper mouse that's also not working properly. I don't know where I put it. It's probably around here somewhere. It's squeaking around, being eaten by a cat. But I don't have a cat anymore, so I don't know whose cat it is. Well, that'll be it for this review. I'll be back soon with a review of something else. Not really sure what exactly, because I'm not recording these in the order that they will be published. I'm just trying to finish these up because I have to send the review units back to the people at PC Coolers that gave us an entire box of stuff to review. And they're probably wondering, where's the stuff? Can we have it back? And yes, you can have it back soon. Well, I should probably already have it back, like I probably filmed this last month. Well, see you soon with different reviews of different things. Probably the case, yeah, the RAID Max case will probably be next up on the review or something. I'm gonna try and do a build on it. I was hoping for a Ryzen build, but AMD doesn't know who we are. They probably don't care. And I'm gonna there's a chance I'm actually do an Athlon 64 build in it. That would be the best thing ever. Like a new, fancy, absolutely bonkers mad, customizable RGB case with an Athlon 64 in it. Would you like to see that? I probably would like to see that. Well, see you then with whatever review thing is gonna be on. Goodbye. Thank you for watching this show. If you enjoyed it, please consider watching some of our other videos and maybe sharing them or giving a thumbs up if you feel like it. And if you really liked what you saw, please check out our Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you could help us make much better shows and get some rewards in the process. Or you could consider buying my book called Tale of Doom. Volume 1 is out now and available for just $2. And as always, if you thought it was horrible, you know where to find me and complain about it.